This live presentation was produced in Ashland, Oregon by the Rogue Valley Metaphysical Library and Event Center. RVML relies on the support of our volunteers, members, and donors to organize and present these programs. For more information about this presentation, or to borrow, download, or purchase other recordings from our catalog, please visit our website at rvml.org.
Hi, I'm Clea Richards, humble and proud. I want to tell you a little bit about my history, and then I want to talk a little bit about iridology, and then we're going to have a little slideshow, and then we'll have a question and answer period. And don't be shy about the questions. I've been studying and practicing iridology for over 20 years. I love it. It's fascinating. Every single time I do an iridology reading, it's fantastic. It's interesting because every single person is unique. And the beautiful thing about iridology is it's totally non-invasive. So you do not have to cut into the body to see what's going on. And you can see the personality, the mental state, where the body's heading, the health hazards that a person is prone to, ancestral predispositions, all kinds of things. It's pretty amazing, and when you see some of the slides, you'll be really amazed. A little bit about my personal history. I got into yoga a long time ago, and I fell in love with it, and became interested in alternative healing, and attended a school in Santa Fe, New Mexico, where they had a complete program: iridology, nutrition, herbology, acupuncture, Chinese medicine, Chinese herbology, lifestyle counseling, energy work, massage, everything. And I went through the complete program. I studied for 6 years there. I took over my herb teacher's business, and it's all in the brochure, which will be on the back table. There's also an information sheet that tells a bit about iridology on the back table too, and my botanical brochure. And I took over my teacher's herb business and began practicing, consulting with people and doing iridology and working out programs. I became a licensed acupuncturist and had a practice also, and then decided to move to California, and then went back to school in California and bought a health food store. I won't go into that because that was a mistake, but it was a good experience and I learned a lot. I'm now living in Weed, and I have a practice in Mount Shasta, and I hope to have a practice up here as well. And I have a botanical business, which I love. It's wholesale and retail. I do iridology, nutritional counseling, and I work out programs. And then I have my herbal business, and I also do herbology. So I'm pretty well-rounded. Now I want to go into iridology and what it is and what it can do for you. Basically, there's a lot of different charts out there. I don't know if everyone can see this. I have grown accustomed to using the Bernard Jensen chart. And basically, I like it because it's very easy to use. So what you have is, this is the outside of the body. You have the skin and lymphatic. Okay. Oh, yeah, okay. Oh, okay. So this is the outside, the skin and lymphatic. Then you have the organ systems. You also have the back, the whole spine. Then you have the intestines and the stomach. It also includes some mental animation life area, which is very, very interesting because it points to why a person has chosen to live and be on the planet. And if they're consumed with their life purpose, if they found what they want to do, if they're searching. And then I also use what's called the RAID method. And RAID is done by Denny Johnson. And basically, it's the personality, how the person relates to the world, and it helps me approach them when I give a reading. And we'll talk about all the different kinds of types of personalities that exist in the RAID method. And that'll be part of the lecture too. So this is the chart I use, and then I combine it. I am also an intuitive, so I combine it with my intuitive ability. I take a client intake, and then I put all that information together. And then when you come, we look at your eye. I take slides, and then we project it onto a screen. And we go through the whole eye, and we look at everything. Where you're headed, where you're coming from, predispositions, and what you can do about it. So you can avoid any kind of life-threatening illness. And also stay, or if you're healthy, maintain your health, which is really important also. So I just wanted you to get a feeling for the chart, okay? So when you come, the first thing I do is I photograph your eyes. And then I take my client intake, and we have a discussion, and we decide what area you want me to target with you, what is most important. And then I have slides made, and I sit down and I get the reading ready, and then I type it up and I have a written report for you. You come back and we go through the whole eye together, and I answer any questions, and we talk about what you can do. So that's what it entails. It entails about 3 hours, and 3 hours of my time in addition. I charge $120, and you get a set of slides, a written report. You can also bring a tape, and I can record the reading also. So, okay, what's next? A little bit about the history of iridology. Iridology is actually an ancient art. Well, I call it art science. It does have very strong scientific basis to it. It goes way back to ancient times. The Egyptians used it. And the father of modern iridology was a little boy named Ignaz von Paisley, who he saw an owl break its leg. And when the owl broke its leg, a sign appeared in the eye. And he took the owl home and treated it and cared for it. And he saw a knitting sign come into the eye as the leg healed. He later became a doctor. He was Hungarian, and did a little chart and started using iridology with his patients. In modern times, Bernard Jensen, I'm sure you've all heard of Bernard Jensen. Yes? Okay. Yeah, he was very famous. He's dead now. And Harry Wolff was my main teacher at the Santa Fe College of Natural Medicine. And he actually brought Bernard Jensen out to teach in our program. And he introduced me also to the RAID methodology of Denny Johnson. So I have a very, very background. And he was a wonderful teacher. Basically, they've done more to further iridology. It's still not really well known in this country. It's very, very big in Europe. The doctors actually use it, so they don't have to cut into the body. And it's amazing what you can see. So that's basically the history of iridology. And, all right, I don't want to keep saying All right, so basically what I look for when I do an iridology reading, the first thing that I look at is your constitution. Your constitution is your recuperative ability. It means how close your fiber structure is in the eye. It's how quickly and how easily you can heal from anything. But if you have a medium constitution, you tend to take better care of yourself. The people that I've read that have these incredibly strong constitutions, they can get away with more, and they do, and they just bat their body all over the place. But the people that have to take care of themselves generally do, and I find, so it's not better to have a really good constitution than it is to have a medium. And then what I look for is the type. So the color of the eye, determines the type of eye that you are. If you're a blue eye, then you have lymphatic. You could have uric acid, which is a tendency to be acidic. You can have a ring around the outside of the eye, any color, and generally that means arteriosclerosis, hardening of the arteries. If you're a mixed eye, you have a light brown or green, and that's the eye that changes color, and they're prone to liver and gallbladder problems. Then the hematogenic is the dark brown eye. The dark brown is prone to blood building, so they usually have problems with anemia, blood diseases, and also liver and gallbladder. Then you can have little colors in the eye. They're called sora, and you're going to see some examples here. So very dark brown dots indicate liver imbalance or liver insufficiency. Then, oh, you're looking at her eyes. If they're straw-colored, it means some kidney insufficiency. And if you have a lot of orange in the eye, it indicates sugar metabolism imbalance or predisposition to diabetes, hypoglycemia, so forth. Then if you have a purple around the rim of the eye, that indicates ancestral alcoholism, which generally affects the sugar metabolism because alcohol absorbs into the body as sugar. And then if you have a light blue, it indicates anemia. And then if you have a dark ring, it indicates lack of exiting toxins through the skin and also lymphatic congestion. So, and then if you have, and I'm going to show you, if you have a ring around the outside of the eye, and then it kind of blends into the white part of the sclera, it means you have a problem with saying no, and you have difficulty with boundaries. And I run into that a lot. Then there's little cloud-like structures that are called tophi that run on the rim of the iris, and they indicate trouble with disharmony. If you have, it's called the ring of harmony. And it's very difficult for these people to live in the world and deal with all the disharmony. Even noise is very difficult for them. So it helps me when I go to approach them. Okay, in addition, with the Rayid method of iridology, there's three main types. You have the jewel. It has lots of little dots. And the jewel temperament is very interesting. They're very analytical, very strong-minded, stubborn as all get up. When I go to read a jewel, I realize I have to just get in there and prove to them that I can really see what's going on. And they fight me all the way. And then they sit back and they go, oh my goodness, you're right. But it's a real struggle. Then you have the flower, which is the very emotional, spontaneous, joyful. They're very, you have to be careful with them because they respond to everything and they can be hurt very easily. Then you have the stream, which is the intuitive, clairvoyant, sensitive. And they already know everything you're going to tell them. And because they're very intuitive. And they're the easiest to work with, actually. And then you have the shaker, which is the jewel and flower combination. So you have the mental and emotional. They're always at odds with everything. And they're very unique. And then you can also tell if a person is an extrovert or introvert. I mean, there's so much to tell. I really can't tell it all. But then we look at the pupil. The pupil is really important. If it's extremely large, when you photograph, a light comes on and the eye should constrict. And with a lot of people, their adrenals are really fatigued. And so it doesn't constrict. And that way I know they really need to nourish the adrenals, which are your energy source. And usually they're fatigued, and I'm going to show you a few examples of that also. There's also a cutoff to the pupil. If the pupil isn't entirely round, that has significance. If it's oblong, also it has significance. And then there's a sugar ruff around the pupil. I hope I'm not giving you too much information. Okay. Well, okay, I'll slow down. I get so excited about iridology. And there's so much to tell. So you'll see a color of orange in the eye. You'll see a sugar ruff if the sugar is affecting the nervous system. And you'll see a pancreas sign usually. And that tells me the person has a very strong predisposition to diabetes. And I see a lot of that. And you can also see if they're not assimilating. And then you put that together with the personality information, and it's really a roadmap to everything. So next we're going to take a look at some slides. Do I need the light? I think we have to turn the Yeah. Yeah, that's fine. Okay. This is a very, you can hear me okay? Okay, and if you have any questions, please hold them and then we'll have a question and answer. This ring, this person has hardening of the arteries. Now, what is difficult to determine here, and I believe this is a cholesterosis ring, but you can also have a sodium ring, which is generally a little lighter, and this goes all the way around. Or it can be a calcium ring if they're not assimilating calcium. But in this case, putting it together with the intake, this person has hardening of the arteries. It is going senile, actually. It's affecting the heart, which is right here. And then you see these dark brown dots right here? Yes. That indicates liver. So their liver is out of balance. And you see the little bit of brownish. The sclera, I forgot to mention, the white part of the eye is also part of iridology. And you look for signs in the white part of the eye as well. And there's a whole sclerology chart. So this brown indicates liver. All these two dots are liver dots. She's having a little bit of trouble with the adrenal area. And she has what's called vascular congestion. Her circulatory system is not working properly with all the red part. The other interesting thing, do you see this purple on top? Okay, her sugar metabolism is imbalanced due to ancestral alcoholism. Somebody in her ancestry drank, which affected her sugar metabolism. In addition, the pupil is too large. That tells me the adrenals are on overwhelm. They're very tired, and this person is very tired. So she has a lot going on. She really has to get on her healing program quickly, because this is pre-stroke. Okay.
How old is that?
Well, she's about 65. She's an elderly woman. Well, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. In our culture, pardon me. I didn't mean that. I'm getting up there myself, so. Okay. Now, this is a very interesting eye. Yes, it is. First of all, this person burnt themselves out dramatically. I mean, this person was dragging themselves to work every day, barely functional. The pupil is way too large. In addition, the kidney, this is the kidney area. Very dangerous, life-threatening sign. This is called a step. It's inherent kidney failure, right on the border. And unfortunately, this person had her eyes photographed but never came back for the reading. And this person was anxiety tetanic. There's a type of eye called anxiety tetanic. It can be in any color. So, and where the breaks are, okay, you see the break right there? That's where the stress really lodges in the eye. And then there's a little, you see the color, the orange? There's a sugar metabolism imbalance and no boundaries. And then alcoholism runs in the family. And this person is not eliminating through the skin very well. So there's a lot going on. The main thing that would concern me is this kidney, the step sign, and the large pupil.
How young is this person?
This person is about 45. So, well, and see this sign right here? Now this is very interesting. This is the animation life area. To me, it's the most fascinating area in the whole eye. This person was going against everything that she wanted to do. She was stuck. She didn't know how to get out of what she was doing. She came to me. She knew she was headed for trouble, but she felt trapped. And this tells me it was really serious. She didn't see any way out, and she was choosing a life-threatening illness. Okay, do you want to move on? Okay, this is, and also right here there's a little fat globule. This person has a little bit of difficulty with their fat metabolism. And then you can see the circulatory right here. So this person needs to be on a program. this is the other eye. A little bit of heart right here. And the fat globule, the liver's really out of balance. Here's the kidney right here. And then all these stress rings. When you see that many stress rings, you know the person is an type A person and is very contracted, needs a lot of massage.
What's the stress rings?
Oh, the stress rings are these right here. Those rings. This is a lighter slide, so a little harder to see.
Where's the lack of boundaries? Is that the outermost?
Yeah, this right here, the way this kind of blends. See how it blends?
Yeah.
Okay, this person had no boundaries whatsoever, did not know the word no, and was doing everything herself. And this pupil is really large. Okay. This is my favorite slide. I love this slide. This person came to me, but she has not. I know her very well. She is afraid to come back for her reading. Look at the size of the pupil. First of all, this person is dragging themselves around. Her adrenals are about to just give up. And then these are liver, and see the orange also? The dark brown are liver, sora they're called, and the more orange ones are pancreatic, tells about the sugar metabolism. So what this tells me is this is a dual personality, all these dots, okay? Extremely mental, brilliant, analytical, stubborn, unable to bend. The jewels are the slowest to change, so you have to work very carefully with them. And then she has a sugar metabolism imbalance. You can have, this is the sugar rough, and then these orange. And in addition, she has poor boundaries, and she has some lymphatic congestion, and her digestion is very weak. See, this should be out to here, and it should be a lighter color. It's dark, and see how it disappears?
Is that slide upside down?
No, this is her left eye. She was wearing a lot of makeup on the bottom, too. And she's wearing a lot of makeup on the top. And then she's under a lot of stress. You can see the little stress rings here. This person has a lot of trouble with her menstruation, and it's liver-related, because the liver is very involved in menstrual problems. So she really needs to work on her liver, her adrenals. She needs to work on relaxing, learning to relax. She doesn't know how to relax. She just drives herself. And then she really needs to be on a healing program, but she won't stop long enough to do that. So this is a very interesting eye. And if these adrenals don't heal, they can actually fail. Yes?
If she went on the program, would all those dark
No,
spots disappear?
no. That's who she is. They're going to stay there. That tells me she's a jewel. They could lighten a little bit, but they're not going to go away. But the main thing is she's not assimilating or digesting anything right here. Okay. Oh, this is the other eye. I just wanted to show you a couple shots. And you see all the orange? So she does also have a sugar metabolism imbalance. She's also very sensitive. And you can see here, right here, is her intestines are a bit inflamed. Okay, next. That's a very nice shot, too. This is the right eye. The other one was the left eye. And you can see again how large the pupil is. It's scary. And then you see this blue right here? Okay, she's anemic on top of everything else, so that's adding to her fatigue. And then she has no boundaries. She doesn't know how to say no either. And then the stress rings. Oh, that's okay. See the stress rings right here. Okay. I put quite a few. I just love this. And you can see the congestion here. Everything in this woman is out of balance.
What does that congestion mean again?
It means circulatory. Her circulation, she's always cold, yeah. And the other thing, she has alopecia. Do you know what that is? No, she has no hair. Her hair is all fallen out. But it's partly, I think, liver related too. Okay. I know, I couldn't resist. I put a lot in. It's my favorite one. Okay. Now, this is a very interesting, this is a 9-year-old boy who was brought to me. His adrenals, he was tired, he's overweight, exhausted, he can't barely get the energy to play or go out inside and do anything, is not doing well in school, and his diet wasn't good. He didn't go to the bathroom and have a bowel movement for 2 weeks. He was so clogged up, and that's part of the fatigue. He's got very weak digestion. This little area right here is the digestive area. And he has a sugar rush in addition. He has a good constitution. The fiber structure, we're looking at how close-knit the fibers are. He can recuperate, and he's doing much better now, by the way. I've been working with him for a year. But he has stress, and his parents are divorced, and that's a lot of the stress, and they don't like each other. And they put each other down in front of the children, and that's been really stressful for him. But he is healing, and he's having regular bowel movements now, too. His adrenals are still healing. This is going to take a very long time. So,
His eyes are usually blue or brown or green. That looks kind of white and gray to me.
well, yeah, it's a uric acid eye. See, there's subtypes. If it's a white on a blue eye, it indicates tendencies to arthritis or uric acid reabsorption, which can cause kidney problems too. So this is a definite uric acid eye. I'm going to show you we're going to talk about all the different types. I mentioned the mixed eye, which is the brown eye. The emetogenic is the dark brown eye. The blue eye has many subtypes. So you have what's called lymphatic. You have the uric acid, which is prone to arthritis. You have the polyglandular, which is a glandular deficiency. You have connective tissue weakness, which people have structural problems. You have the psoric eye, they're prone to skin problems. The psychotic eye, which can be any color, it's not psychosis, it's actually syphilis. If an ancestor had syphilis, you end up with the psychotic eye. You can see everything. I didn't bring a slide, but it's usually a brown eye. And it's the coloring, basically, how you tell. I don't know how much you know about homeopathy, but it causes a taint or miasm. And the wonderful thing about iridology is you can see the Chinese medical diagnosis. You can work homeopathically. You can see what taints have affected the person, what miasms they're carrying. It's endless. Okay, next. Okay, now this is a woman, a really wonderful woman. And again, the pupils are very, very unoverwhelmed. That means the adrenals are just very tired. This looks very similar to the young child's eye. She's also uric acid and has the stress rings. Okay, next. Okay, now this is a very interesting person. Again, I see a lot of large pupils. We're all stressed to the max and we're killing ourselves. People do not know how to relax, how to treat themselves, take care of themselves. I see a lot of very large pupils. Now, in addition, this person is right on the border of diabetes, and you can see all the orange. And she's been diagnosed with what's called polymyalgia. You even touch her skin and she aches. She aches all the time, and she has arthritis too. The straw color tells me that her kidneys are really struggling, also the kidney area. There's a dullness to the pupil. When the pupil is dull, it indicates a tendency for cataracts, okay? And she has a little sugar rush right here too. A little bit of purple. There's ancestral alcoholism. And this area is the bronchus. She has lung problems. And and her fat metabolism right here. And then you can see the congestion. It's called venous congestion. Her circulatory system isn't working. She's very much overweight too. And she's under a lot of stress. Now the stress rings are a little harder to see, but you can kind of see them. Okay. And the pupils is oblong, and that says certain things, and it's slightly cut off too. Okay, that's her other eye, actually. And again, the pupil's large, a lot of orange, and a lot of stuff going on. I look at stuff going on in the head area. So I know there's a lot of challenge for this person to do the work she does. She's not sure she wants to be on the planet. She's not happy. She's frustrated. When you see a lot of activity in that head area, I look at their lifestyle, what's going on, how they feel about change. And then she's slightly anemic. And her boundaries are very poor too. And then on top of this, she has what's called a scurf rim. The scurf rim indicates lymphatic congestion. She's not eliminating. Can you imagine if you didn't collect the garbage out of your house for a month, what it would be like? Well, the body's the same. When the lymphatic is in charge of collecting the garbage, if it's not working, you become toxic. And when you become toxic, that's when you become sick. And it affects every aspect of your life.
Where does it show the life purpose area?
It's right here.
So is she?
Yeah, she's challenged. Yeah, you can see the little break right there. Right there.
And nobody has an orange in their eye originally.
No, you come in, well, if your parents were alcoholics, generally you come in with, but when you're a tiny little baby, it takes a while for all the color to come in and the problem areas to form, yeah. But it form pretty quickly.
And that would go away after?
It will lighten, yeah, if she took care of it. This woman will probably end up on insulin because she's not willing to stop the sugar. And there's a tiny, if you look right here, this tiny bit of arteriosclerosis going on, that little whiteness. It's just beginning with her. That's her again, another lighter slide. And that's her again, too. Oh, you know what? I'm sorry. I didn't bring any healthy eyes. Most of the people, by the time they come to see me, and I thought you'd be more interested in the sick eyes. Now, this is a woman, see how the stress rings? And plus digestion, and her adrenals are tired. But she has 3 stress rings going around her eye. She's driving herself to the point where her body's about to break down. And she's tired, very tired. She has sugar rush, which is the sugar metabolism, and her digestion has stopped working. It's almost non-existent right here. And then you can see there are areas of danger signs. You know, these are called lacuna, okay? This is her left eye, and this is her heart area. So she's headed for heart trouble unless she slows down. And I see a lot of relationship between adrenals on overwhelm and heart. Okay? Am I giving you too much information?
No.
Okay. Same woman. Now, yeah, it's a little smaller. Now, this person has Lyme Tic Disease. And you can see the system is beginning to break down, all the little holes and area separation of fibers. So it is, and he knows it is affecting his constitution. He took antibiotics to clear out, but I think there's still a problem. And he came to me because he wasn't feeling well. But he has chosen not to work with it. Because he just bought a business, and that's more important to him. And that's fine. I have to accept that. The main thing I've learned with my practice is I can't save people. They have the responsibility entirely of their health is in their hands. I can guide them, I can give them information, but I cannot do it for them. And so if they don't want to, I can't work with them. And I have to wish them well and hope for the best. But I can't take it on. I used to take it on. And see also, the kidney, you can see the gold and a little bit of orange too. So the sugar. Now this is interesting. These are called tophi. That's the ring of harmony. And it's more, doesn't have it all the way around. But this person is also under a great deal of stress. These are the stress rings. So he needs harmony in his life, and yet he has a very stressful existence. And they don't meld together too well. Okay, next. I think it's his other eye, but let's find out. This is his other eye. He also has a lot of venous congestion, circulatory problems, and his fat metabolism. This is a pterygium, which is a fat globule. Okay, and this is a very strong heart sign. This is the left eye, and this is a very strong heart sign. This person, I believe, has had a heart attack. And a lot of orange, and you see the sugar metabolism is out of balance. But this is a fairly strong constitution. The fiber structure is excellent. See how tight-knit it is? This person can heal if they do the work. The adrenals are tired. You can see that it's a little large. And the boundary issue is also an issue for them to learn to say no. But with the good constitution, there's a little bit of back problem too. But I'm not concerned. Okay, the white right here. It's irritation. Okay, next. Okay, that's the same eye from a different lighting. Okay, now, again, see how large this pupil is? And then this is the heart area right here. So there's a definite heart problem. This is a mixed eye. This eye can change colors. It's called mixed biliary. It can lighten or darken. The more they take care of themselves, it will get lighter. And they do have some venous congestion, circulatory problems, the large pupil, and look at all these stress rings. This person is under a great deal of stress. And the body's beginning to show it. These are all weakness areas. This person is what's called a jewel flower. These are called flowers, openings, and the little like dots are more jewels. So they're in constant conflict between wanting to be emotional and wanting to be mental. And that struggle goes on all the time. And of course the adrenals. Okay?
Why is
Everybody's living a lifestyle that's not conducive to health. We're running. And we drink a lot of coffee and lattes and espresso, and that kicks the adrenals and tells them, give me adrenaline. Unfortunately, these people really need to give up coffee and change their lifestyle. The most important thing is rest and balance. And how many of you raise your hands if your life is if you have balance in your life? Well, we have some. Well, that's a lot. Okay, next. Okay. Again, this is the same eye. Again, the stress rings. And this always concerns me when I see all those stress rings, because it's very difficult for an anxiety tetanic person to change.
Can I ask you about that? The Japanese call that sanpaku, and you got, light down the
Right. It could be the way they were tilting their head too, so I can't say when I was photographing. If the chin is down a little, yeah. Let's see, we might be done. Okay, this is a healthy person, by the way. Yay, I forgot I brought it. Look at how their fiber structure is wonderful. Okay, very close-knit. They do have a sugar metabolism imbalance. They have a lot of orange. But you see, the digestive area is pretty, right? And the pupil is there's a little large, but it's not bad. This is a reflection, by the way, right here. But as you can see, and they're a little weaker out in the lung area. but they're basically healthy. And you see they have good boundaries too, just a little bit going here. A little stress and pretty clear. So that's a healthy eye. And that's the other eye. It's not quite as healthy, but almost. There's a little liver color here. Good fiber structure. It's pretty round here. Pupils a good size.
What does this person do for a living? Iridologist.
No, it's not my eye, by the way. I don't know. I don't know. I'll have to find out. They came to me because they were having a few circulatory problems, and they're trying to get their sugar metabolism into balance. It's causing problems for them. But, oh, I know. She's a Tai Chi teacher. Yeah, that's right. That's what she does. But she's retired now, and she's gone back to her husband, and they're living together. But her sugar metabolism, and there's a little straw color. So she's not doing Tai Chi teaching anymore. She went through a lot. And you can see some of the toxins are still radiating out into her system. And when I read this person, this is very interesting. What came to me is that she has a low viral infection or bacterial. I just felt it when I looked at her eye, and so she's going to go have a check. I just finished her reading, actually. But she's very balanced, and it was a pleasure, I got to say. Okay. Now, this is a very interesting eye. These are stress rings. So this is actually a mixed eye, but very toxic, very. The toxicity level of this eye, you can see it should be lighter. See, it should be this color. That's the real color underneath. But this person has not been on a good diet, does not take care of themselves. The stress rings are causing problems, stress and anxiety in their life. The pupil's a little large, and you can see the intestinal zone is okay, but it's here it dips. And then they're struggling with why they're here, and they don't know what they're doing. They don't know where they want to be, what they want to be doing. So it's all affecting them. But their constitution, well, it's probably most of us, by the way. The constitution is excellent. Now, there's one thing really going on here, though. This area right here is the small intestine. And see, it's very inflamed. Okay, now go to the next slide. It's white. Okay. Now, this is a very dark one, too. And they're very toxic, okay? Now, go to the next one. This is a person I've been working with for a year. I want to tell you a little story. This person came to me a year ago. She'd been all over, and nobody could find out what was wrong with her. She was having vague symptoms. She's very toxic, for one thing. And I saw the inflammation in the small intestine, and I went to sleep that night, and I woke up the next morning, and a little voice said, check out celiac disease. Now, celiac disease is gluten intolerance, and the only cure for gluten intolerance is to cut out gluten and wheat from your diet. Otherwise, the small intestine remains inflamed. So she came back, and I did her reading, and I said, I think you better go have a biopsy done. I think you have gluten intolerance, celiac disease. And she did. She went and had a biopsy, and the doctor said to her, gosh, how in the world did you know you had gluten intolerance? I mean, how would you know? It's not that uncommon, but it's not common. And she said I had an iridology reading, and the iridologist thought I might have celiac disease. And he looked at her and he said, how did you know? It went right over him. The third time he asked her, she said, I went to an Indian medicine man, and he told me I had celiac disease. And that the doctor heard. I thought that was very funny. So I can't take credit for anything. But she's doing so much better. I mean, it's unbelievable, the improvement in her. Okay, on this eye, what you can see again is the stress. And the stress is very important because it really affects how we deal with our health. When we're stressed, we don't take the time to take care of ourselves. We're too busy until the body breaks down. And that's why it's so important to take this seriously. When you have this many stress rings in your eye, you really want to take a look at your lifestyle, and you want to make changes before it reaches a life-threatening level. And so that's why it's so important. In addition, all the orange, and there's a little problem area right there. That's her pancreas, by the way. She has a little pancreatic psora, and then the stress, okay? And then animation life, whoa, it's really strong. This person is very confused and not sure they want to stay alive. And then the fat metabolism, very weak, so pterygium. And then the sclera, okay, is pointing right to the thyroid. And she's overweight. Okay, next. Okay, again, the heart, okay. Very strong heart sign. And then a little problem with circulation and fat metabolism. And let's see if we have any more. There's one I'm looking for. Yeah, this one. Oh, this one's upside down.
Is that a jewel?
No, this is a flower, very strong flower. It's upside down, but unless we want to. See, this is what's called a polyglandular subtype of the lymphatic. Her glandular, and she's also connective tissue weakness. She has very bad, her discs have completely disintegrated in her back. Well, we better turn it around. It's in the back area. Okay. Yeah, it should pop up, yeah. Yeah. Now, this person is also obese, about 300 pounds. Oh, no, maybe it was in right. Oh. And she's a lovely person, too. Is a foster mother. But, and then see this right here? These are the tophi that tell me when I'm reading her, harmony is absolutely essential to this person. She cannot function with disharmony. And of course, her life is full of disharmony. And then all these are what are called lacuna. They're all weaknesses, all around, okay? So we have a back area right here and a little line running through it. I think she has hyperacidity in the stomach zone because it's white, but underneath it's dark. So what has happened is she's not producing acid when she needs it, hydrochloric acid. She's producing it when she's upset, not when food's coming. And so she has acid reflux and all kinds of acid problems, but she really doesn't have enough acid to digest her food. And so she's hungry all the time, she's eating, and she's also trying to fill a void. Now, this is a flower type personality, so she's really emotional, but you wouldn't know it when you meet her. She looks very calm and stead and in control. But if you look at her eye, it tells me how to approach her when I do a reading, that she's actually very emotional, and I want to be careful. Okay, next.
What about the boundaries?
Oh, okay. She's been working on her boundaries. She's a very interesting character. If you want to know about her, I can tell you. I have her permission. Yes?
It seems like up in the 10 o'clock position, there are 3 or 4 little light blue dots that almost look like Orion's belt. Right there, yes.
Okay, that's what's called, well, it's a lacuna, and it's a special kind of lacuna. When you see this kind of lacuna, over here? Oh, right there. Okay. Oh, right here. Oh, okay. Yeah, it does. You're right. That's irritation. It's very white. There's a lot of irritation in this person. She's constantly in pain, for one thing. But this right here, just to inform you, this is called a leaf lacuna. And wherever you see a leaf lacuna where it looks like a leaf, it means glandular insufficiency. So, and this is her medulla area, actually. She's got a lot going on. You can see a lot of irritation in the head So she's struggling, and she's struggling on a lot of different levels. She's a really delightful person, too.
Her adrenals don't look too bad.
They're not too bad. She doesn't sleep real well because she's in pain, but she does take care of herself in terms of, well, no, she doesn't really take care of herself. But her adrenals, she comes from very strong stock, for one thing. But see how her body's breaking down? And the disharmony in her life is killing her. She takes in foster children, and they're usually foster children that are retarded or have problems, and then she's dealing with yeah, God, it's just horrible. So I'd like to know if you've had any organs removed, like a hysterectomy or tonsils. I'd like to know also any ancestry, like heart disease, cancer, diabetes. It just helps me. And then anything you want me to target, any area that you really want me to look at carefully. And then we talk. Then I take it and I have slides made. And I can either do the reading in person and go through everything, and I'm working out of Hearn and Ilea's house, so you can come there. Or I can also send you your report, because I do type up a written report. I can tape the reading, and I can send it to you, and we can talk on the phone. You do not have to be present for the second part if it's not workable for you.
Or they can draw it to weed.
Or I also have an office in Weed and in Mount Shasta.
When will you be back up in?
I'm going to be coming up regularly. If people have an interest, I'll be doing regular readings here at their home. So as long as people want me, I'll be here.
How much time will elapse between the first reading and when you come back?
Well, I'm going to try the Ashland camera shop and see if they can get the slides back quickly. If I take them to Boss Photo in Mount Shasta, it usually takes like 5 days to get them back. And then I have to sit down with them, and I really take my time when I'm getting a reading ready. I concentrate and meditate. Then I type it all out and I go through it. And then when you come back, we sit down and we go through it together, which can take up to 2 hours, depending on how many questions you have.
Can I say something about your botanicals?
Mm-hmm.
Her and I have been taking her tonics that she makes out of herbs, and when I first took them, they were so strong. The first time I took them, that I actually got a rush, and I got kind of high, and I went, wow, this stuff really works. So I'm really impressed with her botanicals, very much so.
Okay, and I'd like to say something. The Mount Shasta Botanicals, what I do is I blend Ayurvedic, Chinese, Western, and rainforest herbs, and all the 3 or 4 healing traditions, and they all go into those formulas, and I've had phenomenal results with them. And I'm doing this business because I love it, and I'm going to share something with you all. I've had a life-threatening illness myself. When I had the health food store, I worked myself to death 7 days a week. And I didn't know how to get out of it. And I was diagnosed with kidney failure. I was given 2 weeks to live. This was 3 years ago. I took a year and a half off. I did nothing. And I was type A behavior. I was running that store. I had a botanical business. I had a private practice, and I was doing research. And everybody wanted a piece of me. If I was there, I didn't have time to eat or drink. I was constantly at the beck and call of the customers.
How was the boundary line?
I had no boundaries. You know what?
Were your eyes one of those eyes we saw up there?
No. I did not know the word no. I had to be everything, and my whole identity came from my service. And what I have learned, my challenge is to put myself first and to find a balance. And you cannot be healthy without balance. I just wanted to save each person that came to me, and that's not my job. My job is to give information and be there as a guidepost, but I cannot save them unless they want to do the work. And I have very strong feelings about that now.
So do I take it, if, let's say you have a liver problem, you start taking care of your liver, will your eye then, as you become healthy, will your eye then change?
Yeah, if you have the predisposition, it might always show. For instance, if you had alcoholic parents and you've developed a liver weakness because of their drinking, that it's a taint, actually. You can heal it, but you always have the predisposition, and it will probably always show. It's like warning signals. It's, for instance, I went to school, I've been in school 8 years studying all this. I was a licensed acupuncturist. I had a private practice. I totally ignored my body for 7 years. All the warning signs were there, but I was too busy to listen. So it's really, really important that you pay attention to your own body and your own needs, and you set limits and boundaries. And if you know that you have a liver weakness, you take care of it, and you always take care of it. Because I think that's what joy is all about, is taking care of ourselves. And having joy in our life is very important.
Say this, a lot of these people had stress lines.
Oh gosh, I see a lot of stress.
If you reduce your stress.
They lighten dramatically. And I meant to bring a slide of the lady with the celiac disease. I've been working with her for a year, and her eye is completely different. The stress rings have lightened. The inflammation has gone away from her small intestine. She's following her program. She has sugar metabolism imbalance still, because it's very strong with her. But she's doing 1,000,000 times better. Oh, I guess you're first. What were her symptoms? Her bowel fluctuated. She'd go between constipation and diarrhea. She could not gain weight because she was not assimilating. She was hypoglycemic. She had no energy. She had fatigue. It was jumping all over the place. She'd get stomach aches. And they couldn't figure out what was going on with her. And once she stopped the gluten and the wheat, she was like a different person. And then she thought she was crazy because they couldn't find out what was wrong with her, and so she thought it was all in her head. The celiac disease, incredible inflammatory white in the small intestine area. It was just so bright. And then I took an intake, and to be honest, I'm going to tell you, I went to bed that night thinking, because I always think about people I'm working with. Well, anyway, I won't go into that. I care a little too much, no boundaries. And I woke up the next morning, and a little voice said, check out celiac disease. And so I did some research and had her go and have a biopsy. And so I don't know if it was my intuitive ability that picked up on it more than what I saw in the eye. Or both together. Thank you.
You mentioned that when this boy saw the owl break its leg, there was a sign that appeared in the owl's eye.
A dark sign, and actually the leg is in the bottom of the eye, of the chart. And so he saw a dark sign appear in that area. And as it started to heal, there's when you're healing, knitting signs show up in the eye. And you can actually see healing taking place. The eye will lighten, and there'll be little knitting signs.
I was curious about this sign appeared in the owl's eye as it broke its leg. You saw a sign.
Right then and there. We happened to be looking into this was in the 1800s, so I wasn't there. Maybe I was there, but not in this body. But that's what is reported historically, that he wrote a book. He actually designed a little eye chart.
What was his name again?
His name was Ignaz von Piesley. Well, you haven't asked a question yet.
You had mentioned that if one has ancestral alcoholism, that can show up in the ring of the eye. How many ancestors back?
I've seen the purple rim when it's been a great-grandfather, but it was a heavy drinker, and it affected the sugar metabolism down through the parentage. But no one, the parents didn't drink, and the grandparents didn't drink, but a great-grandparent did.
Can you pick up things like candida or parasites?
Yeah. And a lot of times people bring their blood tests to me too. like the Tai Chi person that I read that's healthy, she brought her blood test, and that helped me determine, too, that I do believe she has a low-grade viral infection, possibly parasites or bacterial.
There's some interesting eyes.
Yeah, I know. I was, yeah.
Would you be willing to talk about them a little bit?
It depends on what everybody wants, because we have 10 minutes, or? Okay. What do people want?
What was the other thing you were going to tell us about the different types? Do you have pictures?
Well, I can just describe them to. I have a chart in my office in Weed. I didn't bring it because I didn't think people could see. So let me go over some of the different types, constitutional types, okay? So the number one eye, most common, is a blue eye, and the lymphatic is the general eye. Now there's many subtypes to the lymphatic eye. The lymphatic eye is prone to lymph congestion and poor elimination. And then the subtypes, you have a hydrogenoid eye, which you didn't really see any. Those little cloud-like structures go all the way around the rim, those little tophi, and that is a person that harmony. Well, we have somebody that has a ring of harmony, but I don't want to point them out. I just realized. Okay, forget that. I just read somebody with the ring of harmony. Anyway, unless they want to volunteer. I think I just put my foot in my mouth. Anyway, so if you have those tophi that go all the way, by the way, everything that goes on with me is confidential. If you come to me, well, that's why you noticed I didn't say any names of anybody I was reading, but that was a little slip, but I am very trustworthy. I have a lot of integrity. I just get excited. So if you have that ring of harmony all the way around the eye, I immediately know that the most important thing in your life is harmony. And that if you have disharmony, and usually people that have the ring of harmony have a lot of disharmony in their life, they're drama queens, because that's how they feel alive. Most people don't know how to have harmony. They don't know how to have balance, and balance is what is required for health. So that's my job, is to help you find your balance, and help me find my balance too. So then what we have is the uric acid, which is the white on the blue. I see a lot of uric acid. It's really prevalent these days, partly from stress, because stress creates acidity in our bodies. Also, because of our habits, our dietary habits, there's a lot of predisposition to arthritis, and that's what the uric eye says. Also, kidney stones is when you have a uric acid eye, you're prone to reabsorb uric acid. So then you have the polyglandular, which was that one eye that I showed you with all the little holes. And she also has connective tissue. She has both. The polyglandular has problems with their glandular system, a weakness in the entire glandular system. And the connective tissue weakness is the structural weakness, the back, the way the body's structured. Okay, let me see. Then we have what's called the psoric eye. It's very rare. And the psoric eye is people that have the taint of the psora, it's called, which is skin problems. And it comes down through the ages, and it's usually a blue-brown eye, kind of in between. And there's a lot of skin signs. And usually it's because some lung symptoms were suppressed with cortisone, and then it comes out in the skin. So that's one of the things. Then there's a psychotic eye, which is a syphilis. If anyone in the family history had syphilis, you have a taint that comes down. It's usually a brown eye. And then you have the tuberculosis, the tuberculin taint, and it's usually a blue eye. And then you take something like homeopathic tuberculin. So those are the taints. And then we have your mixed biliary, which is a light brown to green eye, very common. It's usually European ancestry. It's the eye that changes color and lightens. And they're prone to liver and gallbladder problems. Excuse me, I have to take a sip. The one thing I wanted to mention that I forgot, there's so much information, is when you look at it from the Chinese medical mode, liver is anger, liver and gallbladder. The kidneys and bladder are fear. Lung is grief and sadness. Spleen is overthinking. The heart and small intestine are joy. Excuse me. So, for instance, if a person suppresses anger and does not know how to express their anger, it's going to show up in the liver. They might have outbursts inappropriately, but if they don't get it out, it's going to damage their liver. And so I also look at that as well.
What does the psychic intuitive eye look like?
It's a stream. Okay, it's usually they have good fiber structure, and it's like a stream that radiates out. They don't have a lot of holes or dots unless they are a blend or a mix. So you just look at the eye and it seems to stream out.
Like hair?
Yeah, like hair. Okay, excuse me.
There's another one down there.
That's a stream. You don't see a lot of dots. Now, this is a jewel right here. These are jewels. That's a very dark eye. Okay. Well, this is a jewel stream. Okay, right here. This is a jewel with all the jewels, but you can see the streaming. I'm a jewel stream myself.
What am I?
Well, I don't have I have a little light. I think you're a stream.
Because there's enough green in my eyes and there's that blue ring.
Yeah, but I don't see a lot of dots. But I can't see well in this light. I have a special little magnifier, but I don't have it with me.
When you say black eye,
Okay, the dark it's hematogenic, and the dark eye generally has problems with blood, either blood diseases or blood building, and also liver too. Any other questions? Oh,
The health history that we're supposed to bring you if we're coming to you. Organ removal, but what else?
any information you want to give me about your health history, what you want me to target, depression, bronchitis, anything, headaches, migraines. Okay, who was first? Okay.
Does osteoporosis show
You
up
can,
in that?
yeah, it'll come with usually the uric acid eye. And you can also see things in the back, problems in the back area. Oh.
The eye behind the monitor on the wall, the pupil is a form of a star. What is that?
Okay, right here?
It's not round.
Right. Well, there's I have a pupillary chart also. If the pupil's cut off, it indicates a lot of different things, and it depends on where it's cut off. The shape of the pupil is very important. With this person, I would, if they came to me, I would say, and I don't think that's the real shape of their pupil, I think it's the lighting, for instance, but they have toxins that are, because they don't assimilate and they're not digesting, they also have these, what's called radii solaris, that are radiating out into the eye, which tells me that because they're not digesting, they're forming toxins, and then they're radiating out into different areas of the body. So the primary thing I would work on with this person is their digestion.
They look like they have good boundaries though.
Well, this is also called the ring of certainty, by the way. These people have purpose. I mean, when you see that dark ring around the eye, they're going to go for what they want. And they will climb over anybody to do it.
Yeah, you said something to the effect of blue eyes being more common.
Well, because there's... he's saying...
Yeah, I'll speak up. I said that she said something to the effect of blue eyes being more common. Well, what about, several billion Asians? What about people in Africa?
I'm talking about in this country because that's all I see. In this country, it's changing though. I see a lot of blue eyes. The European descent is mainly blue or mixed or light brown. But I'm also starting to see the hematogenic, the dark brown, too. So around the world, there's probably many more dark eyes. But in this country, we still have a predominance of blue or mixed biliary.
And what would that mean for the people around the world that have the dark eyes?
It would mean they fall into the hematogenic or mixed biliary. It would mean a whole different way of approaching their life in terms of whether they're stream, jewel, flower. Do they have liver gallbladder problems, blood building problems? They would fall more into that category. But thank you. Thank you. Yes?
Do you ever do animals?
You know, I'm an animal lover myself. I collect them. I do. I have 7. I haven't, but I would like to start. I don't know how to photograph them. And the photographing is, I don't know how to get them to sit still long enough to look in their eyes either. The owl broke its leg, so it couldn't go anywhere. But I would like to study that. I would like to get some animals and photograph them. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I could probably get in there with my scope, yeah. I'm very interested in that, yes. And I'd like to work with a veterinarian, too. Any other questions?
Unnaturally large pupils need
Okay, I'm sorry, what?
unnaturally large pupils.
Oh, yeah, that means adrenal tiredness.
This, they're always large.
And especially if they stay large, yeah. It means their adrenals are very tired. They don't have enough energy. They're not nourishing their adrenals. They don't have enough adrenaline. They're fatigued. And they really have to heal their adrenals to feel well.
Does that have anything to do with being myopic or not?
No, no. It has nothing. It has to do with the light. I mean, if it doesn't constrict when the light goes in, you know that they're not functioning.
Well, what if it constricts when the light's on?
Well, then they're
just naturally larger than the rest.
okay. Then they're semi-functional. They're not, you know, they don't need healing as badly as if they don't constrict, but they're still a problem. So you want to look at every aspect when you're doing an iridology reading for those that are interested in studying this. It's very in-depth, and it grows. I'm still learning with each person that I do. That's the wonderful thing about iridology is every single person is completely unique. I never see 2 eyes that are exactly the same. And so I learn something every time I do a reading.
Is the eye a bit like a fingerprint where it's, you have a unique signature?
Yes. Yeah. Nobody has exactly the same eyes as you do. They can be similar.
Excuse me, in animals' eyes, the charts be the same as it would be for a human?
I assume so. I have to do some research on that. I assume it would. Yeah.
And when you see these science fiction movies where
Oh, yeah.
they do eye identification,
Yeah. Oh, I'm sure that that's going to happen.
If you get healed, it can be a problem. Recognize it.
I have a woo-woo question for you. You might have known somebody who is a walk-in. In other words, they...
Okay, I just photographed a walk-in. I haven't read her yet. I just photographed her.
And I wonder if you photographed them before and
No.
after, you see a dynamic difference.
No, I didn't know her before. She claims she's a walk-in, yeah.
I have a granddaughter that has one green eye and one blue eye.
Okay. Well, the other thing I forgot to tell you, by the way, with all this information, is generally speaking, the left eye is from the mother and the right eye is from the father. Now, it can be reversed. But if the left eye was blue, it would be from the mother, and the green eye could be...
My daughter has green eyes and her father has blue eyes.
Okay, so that's what that is.
So the left eye is from the mother?
Generally speaking, it can be reversed, but usually, yeah. But then there's different organs, like the liver and gallbladder only show in the right eye. The heart and spleen only show in the left eye. So that's something else that's important.
How long is the study, if you wanted to study iridology?
Well, I've been studying it for 22 years. And you can get certified. I got certified. I don't know what the programs are now. I actually did a 1-year program back in '81. And
Will this video be available for people to watch?
oh,
Yes, we're going to make copies
oh, should I be standing over there? I'm all over the place. Oh, okay. Hi. Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm a walk-in. Well, I get so excited about this, and I've been doing it for 22 years, and I'm telling you, I'm very blessed because I love it.
Clea, can you talk about your botanicals? What kinds
Oh,
of
okay.
botanical concoctions you have that
Okay.
you recommend to people when you do?
Okay, when I do a reading, I generally recommend my botanicals because they're the best. So I have a heart tonic, and the new enhanced ones include Ayurvedic, Chinese, Western, and Rainforest, all blended. I have a Master Immune tonic for tonifying and strengthening the immune system. I have a women's tonic for younger women who are experiencing problems with their menstruation. And I have a Change of Life enhanced for women that are menopausal. I have a brain enhanced for increasing oxygenation and circulation to the brain. I have a mood uplift for depression and balancing. Depression has so many causes, but I target the physical, and then we talk about other things they can do. See, I have a nerve and sleep enhanced to help people. You can take it for stress, a few drops if you're really stressed out, or you can take it to help you sleep at night. I have a Master Energy, which is a blend that has absolutely no caffeine, no ephedra, and is purely for building energy and stamina and endurance without depleting the adrenals. And then I have my original tonics, which will all be enhanced soon. I have adrenal, lung, pituitary, thyroid. I have a kidney bladder. I mean, I have everything. Liver, gallbladder. And I have a diabetes blood sugar tonic also for helping to lower the blood sugar and treat diabetes and hypoglycemia. I make the original tonics, but I now have a lab that makes the enhanced. It does it the same every time. No. Are you kidding? I'd have to be 3 people. I'm so busy with my private practice.
Where do you get them?
I have a lab that I've checked them out thoroughly. They're very reputable, and they make excellent tonics. And they take my formulas, and they check with me, and they get the herbs, and they check with me again, and they make the formulas. So, and I have...
All organic.
Well, some of the Chinese herbs we can't get organic. They just don't have them. But as much organic as possible. I have a website, which is www.mountchastabotanicals.com. It's on my brochure. Yeah. And if you have any, and I'm also reworking my website to make it more educational, because education is my favorite thing. I think it's really important to educate the American public, well, and the world public, actually, about everything, and teach them to take responsibility for their own healing. You cannot hand over the responsibility to anybody. And that's why it's so important to learn. Anyway, I'm on my soapbox here, but any other questions? Any other questions? Oh, yes? And you have to speak up because it's hard to hear.
My English is my second language. I would like to know about the origin of the science, please.
Of iridology? Well, it was, modern iridology, as I mentioned, started with this Ignaz von Peaslee, who saw the leg break of the owl. But it dates back to antiquity. As I said, it's very big in Europe. Doctors use it rather than cutting into the body. It's getting better known in this country, but it's not really well known yet. And then Bernard Jensen developed a chart. There's other charts too. Joseph Deck is a very famous iridologist. Harry Wolff has a book out too. Denny Johnson has done the RAID methodology. So it is growing. And there's a lot of books out there. You just have to go online and put in iridology. But you go to Europe and it's everywhere. Any other questions?
Can you recommend a book on the RAID method?
Okay. Well, I have as the introductory book. Did I bring it? And he's got a newer book too. I think I left it at the house, but it's Denny Johnson, and then I think it's just called Red. Oh, here it is. It's falling to pieces, of course. What the Eye Reveals, and book 1. RAYID. An Introduction to the RAYID Method by Denny Johnson. Okay. Okay, there's still some appointments open for anyone that's interested.
Tomorrow. Thursday.
Oh, Thursday. Okay, any other questions? How are we doing time-wise? We have a few minutes if there's any other questions. Or anything you want me to cover that I didn't.
Can you talk a little bit more about the emotional things that you see?
Oh, yes, yeah.
How did I know that?
Yeah, okay. First of all, when a person comes in to see me and I'm taking the intake, I watch their mannerisms. And then when I look in their eye, let's say I can't tell what you are, but let's say you're a stream, which is the intuitive, sensitive. Okay, that's how you relate to the world, okay? The stream have little radar. They're constantly reading everything, and they're taking it in, and sometimes it affects their health because they don't separate, okay? They don't have boundaries. So when I'm working with a stream, we'll talk about boundaries, especially. If I'm working with a flower, they'll start crying. The minute I mention one thing, they'll start crying. And I have to be gentle with them. If I'm working with a jewel, I have to pound it into their head. No, I'm serious. Because they don't want to know. They want avoidance. So it tells me how to approach them. It also tells me how they deal with the world. And it helps me direct them properly in terms of their healing path. Did that help?
Yeah, but there's certain parts of the eye where you're saying you can tell.
Oh, okay, so the top of the head area is all in the top. So there's a sex impulse area. If a person's been sexually molested or abused, I'll see signs there, and usually in the female area. It's more women that have been sexually abused, so I'll see all kinds of different signs in the female reproductive and the sex impulse area. The animation life is straight up. There's another part of the eye that's mental ability and inherent mental. And a lot of times I'll see challenges going on. The inherent mental is their intuitive ability. So I can immediately see how if they're having challenges with listening to their intuition and fighting it. And then the mental ability is when the mental comes in too strongly and doesn't allow the intuitive to really speak. No, not at all. Right, and excuse me, my nose is running. I'll see very different things in the different eyes, and generally then I'll have a feeling, was the mother dominant, was the father dominant, and I'll see the problems that have occurred because of certain dominance. It could be in one eye. Right, it would show, and so your sugar metabolism might be out of balance in both, show, because sometimes it affects your entire body. But with the heart, as I said, it's only in the left eye. And when I look at assimilation, for instance, like the small intestine is your assimilation, I'm not just looking at assimilation of food. I'm looking at assimilation of ideas. How open-minded are you? How you digest your world. I mean, it's everything. And then as far as what you see in the head area, if a person has, let me think, like the medulla shows up, okay? And I look at that as the connection between the head and the body. Is the person totally in their head and totally ignoring their body? Are they connected to their higher source? I mean, there's so much that you can see. I mean, it's pretty phenomenal. Any other questions? Last. Chance.
Jordan.
You're welcome.
RVML Resource Center is a volunteer-operated federal 501c3 tax-exempt nonprofit organization. RVML is dedicated to providing easy access to a comprehensive collection of information on a variety of metaphysical, spiritual, and personal development subjects. RVML accepts and appreciates all donations. Material and monetary contributions are fully tax-deductible. This recording is not copyrighted, and permission is granted to broadcast, exhibit, or duplicate all or part of this program for non-commercial educational purposes. This live presentation was organized and presented by the Rogue Valley Metaphysical Library and Event Center. For more information, please visit rvml.org.